blessing of God, perfect, innocent reflection of God. In the truth of love, every beloved that walks the spiritual journey is being called to bring blessings to every moment, every situation, every day. The blessings that you offer are coming from the truth within your heart and mind, and the acceptance that you, by your nature of God's creation, are the blessing of God. When you offer blessings, you're offering the pure, beautiful blessings that are given to you as you heal and remember the truth of your being, and at the same time surrendering and rejecting the limitations of an identity that says that you are not blessed, that you are needing to struggle, that you are needing to worry and needing to battle. But all the while, the Spirit of love is calling to you to return and to accept that you are the blessing of God's creation. You have the capability within you, in the purity of your heart and in the cleansing of your mind. You have the profound capability of offering healing love to everyone that comes to your mind and to everyone that comes to you in form. It is part of your own healing. It is the natural extension of your acceptance that you are God's creation. As you accept it deeper and deeper, and the false identity is being surrendered and falling away, you'll come into more and more awareness of your gifts that you have to offer. The most beautiful healing occurs in that offering. All the attention that the ego has screamed for begins to lose its grip. And as it begins to lose its grip, you realize that you have less and less concern within you about self-protection. Self-protection seems to be centered with the body, but is of course not limited to the physical body. It includes the emotional body, And that concern says, constantly screaming at you, what about me? What about me? What about me? As you find yourself more and more in the blessings and the grace of God, and the more that you trust that you are in the abundance of God's love, naturally, the fears that scream, what about me, start fading. They're not as loud. They're not as insistent because you're no longer believing that you are unsafe or in need of defense, in need of protection. And in that belief of the need of protection and defense, the need to get is the ego's playground. And the playground of God is the abundance of love that is ever flowing. The journey of blessings is opening in your heart and your mind. That when you truly look, blessings are pouring. The blessings of love are right here, right now, as God is right here, right now. Allow yourself and invite yourself to embrace the blessings and be that blessing. Let each word that you speak be a blessing. Let every thought that you have be a blessing. Every feeling that you have that is coming from the mind, from the thoughts and beliefs, let them all be a blessing. You choose to bless, or you choose to condemn. The condemnation is just in a camouflage. No one would more than likely choose condemnation as an actual choice. And yet, if there are opinions and assessments and irritations and blame of any kind, then condemnation is being chosen. And yet, blessings are waiting to be chosen. I could choose peace instead of this. I could choose blessings instead of this. Let your choice be illuminated in every moment. And in this moment, the willingness to accept the blessings of this moment and to join in that blessing, to accept that you are the blessing and that you are blessing. both the creation of God. Affirming in this moment that the universe is all love and that blessings are pouring through that love, through that light. The sanctuary is filled with love and blessings. Nothing else is chosen. And in the presence of all that is, the life force of God brings complete blessings. And in that life force of love of God, we move and breathe and bless as one. Only love. Only love. Blessing. As you allow the healing prayers to enter your heart, they are carried through blessings, all in service of love. Over the mountains of despair, we will rise above. Over the heartache and the pain, upon the wings of love. The healing of our savage heart, gently by the dove, miraculously transforming us upon the wings of love. Terrible mistakes we think we've made, regrets we've undergone. Sometimes the hopelessness makes us forget the sun at dawn. All delight and joyousness, the tender mercies of Jesus, who carries our burdens upon the wings of love. Jesus, who carries our burdens upon the wings of love. Here comes the blessing of the sun to heal us. As we firm ourselves in the sun and the moon and the stars, and in the Queen of the Sea, the Divine Mother calls out to us to come home. I am arriving. I am here. And in this moment, what my Father asks of me, I affirm and I follow. My Mother, Divine Mother, you are blessing us, giving us your comfort, showing us the way. Since I have realized that I am truly with you, I have let go of the belief of death and realize I can never consider myself dead. La ver o sol nos curar, vamos todos se firmar, no sol, na lua, nas estrelas e na rainha do mar. Cheguei, já estou aqui, ninguém queira duvidar. Ok, meu pai me ordena, eu tenho que afirmar. Meu Pai, vos nos abençoes, nos dando vosso conforto, que eu estando com vos, jamais me considero morto. In every situation, in every purpose, the Divine Mother and Father come to bring truth and light and love and guidance always. Let the authorities of love guide your way and rest in that guidance. Rest in the peace that love is all that there is. Forgive the dream. All your images of winter I see against your sky. I understand the wounds that I have not healed in you. They seem to exist because God and love has yet to become real enough to allow you to forgive the dream. You still listen to an old alley song that brings your body pain. Now chain your ears to his pacing drum and flute and fix your eyes upon the magnificent arch of his brow that supports and allows the universe to expand. Your hands and feet and heart want to remember and know the warmth of the perfect one's circle of love. A true saint is an eternal earth, is an earth in eternal spring. Inside the veins of a petal on a blooming redbud tree are hidden worlds where the teacher sometimes resides. My love for your master is such that you can just lean back and I will feed you the truth. Your wounds of love can only heal when you can forgive the dream. As this offering is to forgive the dream, that is actually the journey as you walk in this world. Every time you have a thought that arises that is not peaceful, you have the opportunity of forgiving the dream. Imagine that all day long you can actually realize that with each seeming disturbance, in that moment, you can forgive the dream. You can recognize in that moment, oh, this is a dream. This isn't reality. And I can forgive this dream that I've been walking in and believing in. It would keep you very busy because it would be every idea of any disturbance. Every beloved that walks in this world has built an immunity to the recognition of disturbance. For most of everybody's life, worry is presumed to be natural. Worry, concern, is presumed actually to be connected to love. Everyone somewhat believes to some capacity that when you worry about others, have concerns, that is your love. But love is calling you to a much deeper awareness of the truth of love. The truth of love that forgives the dream. That in your heart, you are devoted to no longer holding anyone, including yourself, in a perception of a nightmare, in the perception of right and wrong and good and bad. Everyone has used good and bad and right and wrong as a state that says, I can make decisions based on right and wrong. I can have a grasp and hold something that I think I know, because I can put it either on right and wrong or good and bad, and then I feel a sense of control through that knowing if it's right or wrong. But in that confusion, in that false idea that knowing right or wrong is somehow a sense of control, you're actually affirming that the illusion of the nightmare is real, and that there is something to battle, and that there is something to win and get. But all divine masters, all teachers of love are calling you to the same thing, which is to accept your blessed true nature and only offer blessings to everyone. Will that take some courage? Yes, it does take some courage, because the habit of worry and concern is so strong and so agreed upon that you can even feel like you're not giving to someone if you're not worried about them or concerned, or even about yourself. If you're trusting in God instead of worrying. The whole relationship to worry, being concerned. I understand the wounds that have not healed in you. They exist because God and love has not yet become real enough. How does the blessings of God become real? Except by accepting them. And what do you have to lose by accepting the blessing that you are? And what do you have to lose to be only blessing everyone because it is your nature? It is your nature to bless. there's always a place in the world that gives you the opportunity to go deeper into love. And one of those places is within the world, when other beloveds, what seem like to be other beloveds, have a reaction to you of what you perceive to be as a judgment or a dislike of some kind. What does that mean to you? And what is the reaction that you have in return? And how familiar is it when someone is upset with you or irritated or something that you're seeing within them? What is the familiarity to you? And what is the blessing of healing in that moment? The first question to ask when there is an irritation or a disturbance of some kind through someone's reaction is, how familiar is this to you? What reaction are you having? Do you instantly want to defend yourself when someone has a reaction? That's where almost everybody goes, is to defend in some way, to discount their what you're seeing, or to defend yourself in some way. But the place that is so rich with healing is to take that opportunity and look at it completely as projection. Because when you ask yourself, what is this that's so familiar in being judged, you will come to the place where the projection will reveal to you that it's only disturbing because you have believed in judgment and you have believed in reacting to others. And this is the opportunity of such deep healing. We can't have a reaction to anything outside of us unless we've already had it within us toward others. When someone is irritated and everything in you wants to react instead of seeing it as a call for love, that is where your healing lies. That everything in you wants to react and defend. That's the place. That's the place that Spirit is calling you to, that says, I have judged. I have been irritated. And this is my healing. To see the irritation that someone else is projecting back, reflecting back, and realize that there is no blessing that is being offered in that irritation or that disturbance. And to forgive the dream that anyone could be irritated and that it would mean something about you. Somebody was upset with you and your reaction says, I take this personally, instead of seeing the call for love. The call for love is always the first place to go, and really the only place to go that has any healing within it. I in the past have spent days, weeks, months, years gnawing on what others might think about me, filled with concern, not concern of love, but concern of my identity being protected. Is it possible to spend years gnawing on it? Absolutely. And every single one of those beloveds that I spent so much time and energy in trying to defend, even in my own mind, why I was the innocent one and they weren't. I spent all that time and not realizing, not being able to realize yet, that it was all in my mind. That everything that I was projecting onto someone else for their irritation and my worry about what they thought of me was because of what I thought of myself. Only that. Only that. There was no other thinking anything of me. There was only my own mind reacting to a reflection of my own beliefs. Every moment is the opportunity of forgiving the dream. That only blessings exist, and that there is no one to blame. Was I just worried about others and what they thought of me and all that gnawing? No. There was blame in there. There was condemnation. There was a wanting to get rid of my own secret self-identity of self-hatred. That's all that anyone is ever touching within you when there is a reaction of some kind to an irritation or a judgment that seems to be outside. It's only a reflection of the mind and the belief of self-hatred or unworth. This is where freedom opens. When you can see the call for love and hear the call for love and refuse to accept that judgment has any purpose, that blame has any purpose, what would your life be without the belief in blame? The belief in blame, not just circumstances, but the actual belief that blame has legitimacy or reality. When you would have no one to hold in blame and you would have no blame, no wrongdoing, only redirection, little mistakes, errors in thinking, no sin, no blame, no condemnation. If you have no blame and there is no condemnation, then with that erases all of the ideas of personal damage. And again, everyone holds an identity of personal damage. What you didn't get, what you believed was missing. And yet, in the light of God, you are whole, complete, and the blessing of creation. There is nothing else. There is absolutely nothing else to accept. Could it be just that simple to heal? Yes. Yes. Forgive the dream. And forgiveness is, I was mistaken. I was mistaken about everyone. I was mistaken about the truth of everyone. And there is nothing to defend. There is no one who can impugn your perfection. There is nothing that can change the exquisite truth of your life force. There is nothing that you are in need of defending. Nothing. Not for any reason is there anything to really defend. When there is a defense, it is usually out of guilt and out of blame, out of judgment. But if you're willing to no longer judge and erase blame, that you don't accept it anymore as reality at all, and that every single time someone is disturbed about something, that you truly ask if this is my disturbance of myself, and the belief that perfection is not reality, I'm willing to heal this. I'm willing to be freed from the belief of disturbance. Everything is the opportunity to forgive the dream, because everything within this form that is temporary is the dream, the nightmare for most of the time. And the Holy Spirit is just asking you to step out of the nightmare into first the happy dream, to accept that your mind can be freed, that your heart can be healed completely, and that it really is. And you're willing to accept that state of being that is perfection, and that is a blessing to all creation. There's nothing to prove in being the blessing of all creation. No one needs to go around with a sign on saying, I'm the blessing of all creation. It is that quiet, gentle place that just is accepting that God's will is your will, and that in that blessing, you bring the blessings of God into every moment. You will listen to an old alley song that brings your body pain. This is the revisiting, the constant revisiting that the ego likes to do to things that spark the sense of lack within. That wanting to revisit the lack of the past that was perceived, instead of, that was the dream. And I'm here to forgive that dream. And when you forgive the dream of the past, you are being called to actually forgive for every beloved that you walked with in the past. That each beloved is your reflection. And that story, that dream was not the truth of any of you. That you are all the light of God and the bringers of blessings. Your hands and feet and heart want to remember the warmth of the perfect one's circle, God's circle of love, where you truly belong. And all of you is yearning for that circle of love, to rest in that circle, and to no longer hold blame, to no longer hold condemnation of any kind, or opinions, or worry, or concerns, because they have no truth in God. And that you can be joyous in every moment, even if another beloved is upset or irritated, that you see only the call for love, only the call for self-forgiveness of the dream, of any time that you have been irritated or upset or disturbed by what you thought was somebody else, and to forgive that dream. To forgive every moment of the past that has said something is wrong, something is lacking, and instead now accepting the brilliance of God's creation. Inside the veins of a petal on a blooming redbud tree are hidden worlds where the divine sometimes resides. This is what God's love is wanting to open to you, that in all the blessings is a garden of love, waiting to be resting there within that garden, because that's where you truly belong. My love for the Master is such that you can just lean back and I will feed you the truth. Your wounds of love can only heal when you forgive the dream. It helps sometimes during the day to actually ask yourself, what dream am I believing now? What illusion is running my mind right now? And what is it that the divine is wanting to communicate in this moment with me? What blessings are there to deliver? And what blessings are there to receive? The strength of God is waiting for you in that divine truth. When we speak of forgiveness, there is a question, because forgiveness seems to be resisted as if it's an unknown territory of some door that you're going to open that you're not going to be able to close again once you open to forgiveness. But the question becomes, have you let go of all the things that would prevent forgiveness? So if you're irritated with someone or worried about someone and holding on to the worry or the irritation, there's no space for the forgiveness. God is calling you to surrender the belief in irritation, the belief in worry, and then to forgive it. To forgive is to disown, to make the decision, I forgive myself for believing in this, and I disown it. I return it into the light of God to be transformed. I'm not willing to dance with this anymore or believe it about anyone or any situation. Every learning is an unlearning. When you are learning the truth of love, you are unlearning the lies of the ego at the same time. They're one. You can't learn the truth of love without unlearning the lies, denying the lies, not holding anyone in the past of any conflict, but willing to forgive every beloved from the past, which could be yesterday, which could be an hour before, everyone in the past. And the forgiveness of your heart and your mind that any of this was reality. Just being available to just offer love. Just and blessings. Because you're not interested anymore in the old beliefs of irritation or disturbance of any kind. And you will no longer believe it when it's being held by another beloved. Because you will realize and you will accept, oh, this has to be in my own mind. This isn't coming from them. That's the subtlety, is as soon as you register an irritation or a disturbance from someone else, it's only because your own mind holds it and identifies it. Or else there's nothing to join with. So you have that immediate place of healing, of I'm believing in a disturbance. And I must forgive. I want to forgive. I want to be freed from this belief that disturbance, blame, irritation, worry is legitimate. I'm not willing anymore. How can a beloved serve that cry for love if when that beloved is saying, I'm just irritated and this is the reason why? How can you hold the truth for them if you believe that your judgment and irritation is legitimate? That's the place of healing. That place where through their offering, you see your own patterns and habits of judgment and irritation, and you have the opportunity with them to forgive yourself, forgive that it has any validity, that they are not condemned, that they are not in judgment either, and that you aren't willing to hold on to judgment at all. And then healing is offered and received because of the honesty of your willingness to forgive, truly forgive. In that forgiveness, it has to be accepted that harm is impossible. Harm is impossible. Now this goes against everything that is believed in this world, that harm is impossible. Harm is impossible because you are not temporary. You are not a body. You are not an emotional body. You are the light of God. You are the Spirit of God, and nothing can harm your divine spirit. Nothing. Harm is only the outcome of judgment. There has to be judgment to believe in harm, and none of it exists. It all comes from the belief of judgment and opinions, and it is the dishonest act that follows a dishonest belief. That's how harm is held and why it's believed in, because of the dishonesty of the belief of harm and the dishonest thoughts of the ego identity that have no truth in them. If someone says to you, you have no redeeming value, you're a piece of crap. If someone says this to you, you have two choices: to believe that you are being harmed or to see it as a cry for love. If you believe yourself that you are a piece of crap, you're going to see it as a harm. You're going to accept it as something real. But in that moment, the Spirit of love is saying to you, this has no truth. This is a dishonest act coming from a dishonest thought. It's not the truth of anybody. And in that moment, you also have the opportunity that anyone that you have thought the same thoughts about, that is your opportunity of forgiveness again, to forgive the dream of where you held others in the same idea of being unworthy of love. So you have all of this healing that's offered in every moment. You cannot be anything less than the light of God, but neither can anyone else. And this is why all divine beings, all teachers and masters are saying, come, forgive the dream. Let it go and open to the blessing that you are. The exquisite blessing that you are as the light of God. And see everyone within that same blessing. And allow your heart, your mind to use the form for its temporary purpose of offering love. Use every moment for its divine purpose, and as you do, you are transforming the entire earth plane, because you're no longer joining in the temporary belief in death and the temporary belief that you are without. The abundance of God's love has no boundaries. And every beloved is being called to open beyond the self-inflicted boundaries that have been placed on anything, but open to the abundance of love. Let it flow. Unlearning what you thought you were. Unlearning the agreements that you've had with all beloveds in the past, particularly the agreements that you've had with the beloveds who you came into this earth plane with, and the ones that you came to meet with, all of them have had contracts all the way through. And you're being called to let those agreements go for them and for you, to forgive the dream. That anything that you thought you knew about anybody from the past was not the truth of who they are. That they are the light of God, and you don't know who they are other than that. And you offer them up into love. That is the great love that you have to offer. That is the great blessing that you have in healing, is in the realization that you want all the beloveds of the past to be free. That you don't want to hold them any longer in old agreements, but that you truly want to bring the light to all of the past. And you have that power because you are the one who is the sanest in the moment. If this teaching is within your heart, then you are sanest in the moment, and you can bring healing blessings to all beloveds from the past, to set them free from their false identities. And with that, you will also be free. Because as you let them go, you let yourself go from the false identity that you've carried. And you forgive the dream. There was a moment in this healing, in the realization that it truly was a dream. And the beauty of truth that came and just fired through was, I made it up. I made it up. The I that I thought I was made up in the mind an identity that had no relationship to the truth of love. And then I gave everyone identities, and everything an identity, and everything a name for temporariness. And all of it fell away. I made it up. Not as a caution, I made it up, but as a declaration of truth. There was no sin. There is no sin. There are no differences. You cannot pick out differences with anyone and be in the reality of love. There are no differences. There is only love. And you have the power to bring. You have the power of truth that is all healing, and trusting that the unfolding in the everyday is blessed, and that you are here to bless. No one's walking around saying, I am the light of God. But let your heart sing, I am the light of God. Don't deny yourself the acceptance of that exquisite blessing. You are the light of God. And you can't earn it, and you can't get rid of it. It is intrinsic, and only depends on your willingness to remember and embrace that you are the light of God. You can live and move in love now because it's what and who you are. And all of love supports you in that blessing of all creation. Your everyday life and your everyday remembering is dependent on your willing to be the blessing of God and to forgive the dream. You don't have to make an announcement of forgiving the dream. You can just quietly, in the everyday life, forgive all thoughts, all ideas that say, I'm separate, I'm without, I'm alone. Nope, none of it is true. Only the heart of love is real. One heart, forgiving the dream.